My stepmother announced at my father's funeral that I'd been cut out of the will, then had security escort me off the property. No one knew that my father had secretly slipped me a mysterious key on his deathbed. I stood there in the rain watching as the iron gates of my childhood home closed in my face. 26 years of memories, and now I was an outsider. The security guard, who had known me since I was a child, couldn't even look me in the eyes as he followed my stepmother Victoria's orders. "I'm sorry, Miss Emma," he mumbled before walking away. My phone buzzed with a text from my half-sister Olivia. "Don't make a scene, just accept it and move on." Accepted. My father, Richard Bennett, had built his real estate empire from nothing. He'd always promised that I would have a place in both the company and his legacy. Now, according to Victoria, he had changed his will just 2 weeks before his death, leaving everything to her and Olivia. Something wasn't right. Dad had been sick, yes, but his mind was sharp until the end. The last time I saw him alone, he gripped my hand with surprising strength. "Emma," he'd whispered, pressing something cold and metal into my palm. "Trust no one. This opens the truth." It was a small brass key with an unusual notch pattern. I'd slipped it into my pocket just before Victoria had returned to the room and demanded I leave now. As I walked away from the only home I'd known, I clutched that key in my pocket. My apartment lease had ended the previous month. I'd been planning to move back home to help care for Dad during his final days. Victoria had blocked that, and now I had nowhere to go. I checked into a cheap motel that night, my designer funeral dress hanging limply in the bathroom as I tried to make sense of everything. Dad and I had been inseparable since my mother died when I was 10. Then Victoria came into the picture 5 years ago, bringing teenage Olivia with her. Everything changed. My phone rang. It was Michael, Dad's longtime lawyer. "Emma, I'm so sorry about today," he said, his voice strained. I wanted to reach out personally. "Did you know about the will change?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. There was a pause. "I can't discuss details, attorney-client privilege." "Michael, you've known me my entire life. Did my father really cut me out completely?" Another pause. "The will I filed is legally binding. That's all I can say officially." Something in his tone made me sit up straighter. "And unofficially?" "I can't meet with you," he said quickly, "but my assistant Nate is very thorough with file organization. He works late at the office on Thursdays," hypothetically speaking. The call ended, leaving me staring at the key in my hand. What did it open? And why was Michael being so cryptic? 2 days later, I found myself outside the Bennett legal offices at 8 p.m. on Thursday. The main lights were off, but I could see a desk lamp on in the back. I knocked softly. A young man opened the door. Nate, I presumed. He looked nervously over his shoulder before ushering me in. "Miss Bennett," he whispered. "I don't have much time. Mr. Winters didn't tell me details, but he left this for you." He handed me a manila envelope. "I was never here, and you were never here. Understand?" I nodded, taking the envelope. "Thank you." Back in my motel room, I opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a single sheet of paper with an address and 3 words: Storage Unit B42. My heart pounded as I realized the key. This had to be what it opened. The next morning, I found the storage facility on the outskirts of town. When I arrived at Unit B42, my hands trembled as I inserted the key. The lock clicked open. Inside was a single filing cabinet and a voice recorder. I pressed play on the recorder and nearly collapsed when I heard my father's voice. "Emma, if you are listening to this, then my worst fears have come true. Victoria isn't who she claims to be. I've discovered something terrible." The recording cut off as I heard footsteps behind me. I turned to find Olivia standing in the doorway, her eyes wide with shock. "What are you doing here?" she demanded. "How did you find this place?" I clutched the recorder to my chest. "Dad left me the key." "What's going on, Olivia? What happened to our father?" Her face paled. "You need to leave. Now if Mother finds out you've been here, what will Victoria do?" I challenged. Olivia's eyes darted nervously. "You don't understand what she's capable of." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Emma, Dad's death, and it wasn't from his illness.